Howdy y'all, Jackson here with Ictric Studios, and welcome back to another episode of Outside the Hash. I replaced Kyle with the other host this week.
AKA your average Nico Harrison hater.
Yeah. You are repping your hockey team, I guess your second hockey team.
Second hockey team, yeah.
But
And
also,
second college.
and your second college. They did beat Michigan, so you get that. Because we didn't show up in the
Sweet.
second half.
Mm. Mm.
But you are repping your background as your number one alternative football team.
We're going for not just the three-peat, we're going for the three undefeated Pete. And I think that
something one
pretty
of your teams
confidently do
can't
it.
say anymore. They can still be going for the 3-peat.
Asterisk, to be fair, preseason. But sort of yes, sort of true.
All right. Let me share my screen with you so we can go to over the fun leagues. Because there was Greater Toronto Indoor Football League playoffs this week, of course. Semifinals.
Yeah.
There was also the Alabama Bowl, where who would have guessed that the stateside Silverbacks beat the Alabama Empire? Alabama Empire, noted the worst team in our SRS ranking.
Big surprise.
There was also the kickoff of the NorCal 8-man football league. So, Nate, perfect, 2-0. Way to start.
Great start.
I blew it. I went with the team that I knew. Apparently, they're not good anymore. They're not good, so. So rip the Kelly gold there. And then I don't know why Kyle picked the Jets over the Savages. Just L move. for
Unreal.
for the NIF, I have no idea if any of those games actually happened, so that's why there's questions.
I googled them too.
Yeah,
and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, so we will pick them week 2. If I can't find any evidence they play week 2, we will just kick them out. I'm sure the Dallas Falcons will still play games, but
who knows about the other? Yeah.
Yeah, but Greater Toronto Indoor Football, they had their 2 semifinals. The 2 Tire Siege won.
Top 2 teams. Mm-hmm.
The Supreme won at the very end of their game too. So that was 0-0 for the longest time. Who'd ever guessed that there'd be such low-scoring indoor games?
I would love to see him play against an American indoor team. Maybe not obviously not the level like
they can play an AL2 team or something. They can play the Dallas Falcons. I'm sure they play.
So bad. I would love Dallas Falcons putting up 60 on them.
Yeah. The Dallas Falcons would absolutely play them if they were offered it. I guarantee.
They say they're the Nicolas Cage of indoor football.
Them and Up
they
One.
Say yes to everything.
Them and Up One are both like, yes, we will come play. Football, yes, please. All right, I will go. Actually, I don't know. I guess the Jets did not score, so I will go.
Jets got smacked. Yeah. I'll go Cali.
We will have to make sure Kyle gets some picks in.
I'll go with the Savages.
Yeah, I'll go with Savages as well, just because of the name. I think I could... Because I really have nothing to base these on. They both smoked their opponents.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a little surprised I went 3-0. I mean, the first one was pretty obvious. The other two was just kind of shots in the dark. So I obviously went with name for the second, and anti-Cali propaganda. So had to go with the Sharks. Right, although I'm sure the other one was also Cali. I think that's a Cali league, right? So
yeah, it's North California.
It seemed I guess it's Northern California, so it's good California. But
yeah.
Well, I gotta go Dallas Falcons though. Yeah.
If the game happens, I'm taking Dallas Falcons. Yeah, and then I'll go Waco.
Jeez. Sure, I'll go the Kings. I guess. Why not?
There's like a 90% chance those games don't happen. So. So there's the Greater Toronto Championship is Hit Squad Supreme. So that will come down to the decision maker for us, Nate. Because we have different.
Oh my god. Oh, 63 for Kyle on his. Oh, he's crazy. I think we pressured him into doing that, maybe. I don't remember.
No, I'm pretty sure I put a higher score originally, and then I looked at the scores and remembered this league does not score.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll be interesting. I'm
Based on
feeling
how
good
these games are
into
going to
that.
go, it's probably going to end up like 12-7 now.
Well, that's good for me then.
0-6. Well, it doesn't matter because we both have different teams winning.
Oh yeah, duh. I'm dumb.
But you did go 3-0, so you're got a 2-game
Cooking.
lead there.
Cooking.
2-2-2. Yeah. All right. The AF was on a bye week, so the Detroit Ravens West Michigan is this week. Now that we know the semi-pro teams can sometimes beat the pro teams, does anybody want to change their
I'm not
pick?
changing. Absolutely not.
The Detroit Ravens are supposed to be one of the best semi-pro teams in the country.
Yeah, it's after what we saw, what West Michigan did
Yeah,
against my Chads.
they are putting 70 points up against, but they are in a Mickey Mouse league, so who knows, you know?
Well, the semi-pro team then is in an even more Mickey Mouse league.
I guess.
If they're even in a league, if they're just a traveling football team.
They're the PFA. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's an 11-man league. They play outdoor football like real men.
Pacific Football Association. I don't know. So it's
Well,
Detroit's not
considering
Pacific though.
they're in Michigan,
no.
they're in Detroit. I guess it could be a South Bend ACC kind of thing, you know.
You never know.
But yeah, so that's on a bye week. Major League Rugby. I have my highlights for that, so I will pull that up so we can watch the highlights from my game. So, Chicago Hounds, my number one team. Chi-Town, let's go. They were they made a couple changes in their line, but here's the New England Free Jacks, the reigning champions. This is actually a repeat of the semifinal matchup. The penalty kick to start, it was actually a really long kick, to be honest. Here's a good scrum to get into. I guess a ruck, I guess. But yeah. So Chicago's going up big to start. 22-point lead at halftime. Here they are going up in 29-0 with 5 minutes left before the Free Jacks finally get in. So stomping 36.
The dagger.
Yep. Yeah. 36-7 is your final. So shout out to the Chicago Hounds, who are second in SRS ranking right now because the Utah beat them, obviously. So, Utah looking really, really good through.
They are killing it right now, and I'm glad I picked them up.
Yeah.
I technically never fully decided which one I want to do because I either do the really good game or the really funny game. So I'll leave it up to you. Which one should I do? Because I'll either do Houston, Seattle, or obviously Anthem.
Yeah, probably Houston.
I guess I'll do Anthem actually, because if Kyle was hypothetically here, I feel like that'd be the game he'd do. Because the other ones weren't that good. So I'll just do Anthem. Screw it. Just a second, guys. Share my. Oh crap! I forgot about this.
I'm gonna minimize your screen until you log in.
I'm gonna unshare for a moment because I don't have my password saved, so I'm probably gonna have to just do forgot password.
To be fair, we can just use the little scoring box that I have.
Hang on. I think I could just log in using my email, so I think I'll be all right. Okay, well now it has. Okay, there we go. I also sort of changed my mind. As funny as that Anthem game would be, I think it's probably for the best to actually cover a real game.
I mean, the Anthem game
So
was close, though.
it was, but I've not. I also haven't covered Houston yet. So as funny
Huh.
as the Anthem game would be, okay, now it's taking a second to load. I don't know what's going on.
Yay for Scuff. We've been doing this for a year, and we're just as scuffed as ever.
I'm not well when I'm traveling. It's rough, but when I'm home, it's fine.
I'll just go over the
Golly.
other games while you're getting
Just
that
over the
up.
game. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say because this is I don't know what the heck is going
So
on.
Miami got away with one against Anthem, 32-31. Anthem led all three the main scoring stat markers. Line Latu with 11 points. He had 98 meters made, and then McKean Elikum had 12 tackles. Utah continued their domination right now. They smoked NOLA 55-21. Joey Mano 15 points, 96 meters. Kyle Brown with 16 tackles. San Diego
Okay.
handled Old Glory 26-10. Lincoln McClutchy, that's a great name, led this scoring for San Diego with
That's
6.
freaking awesome.
Davian Hoyland for DC had the most meters, and Shiloh Klein had 21 tackles. And then in the Chicago game, 4 people had 5 points. Michael Hand had leading in meters carried, and Sam Card for New England had 19 tackles. All right. Do you have your thing up
Oh,
now, Nate?
I do.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. All right. So I decided to go over Houston and Seattle. So battle of two heavyweights from last year. Seattle, I believe, falls 0-2 with this loss.
Seattle watch
And
question
Houston,
mark?
yeah, I think they are washed along with the Free Jacks. So we all know Houston's not going to win it. So I think it's Utah's year. Storm and Mormons.
Utah,
Um,
Chicago, baby.
that would be a freaking legacy matchup. But anyways, so Houston, as I noted, won 24-21, 3 tries each, won the position battle pretty handily, and spent a majority of the game in Seattle's side of the field. So feels a bit more lopsided than the score indicated. A lot more tackles for Seattle. That's pretty much about the only thing they really won here, besides maybe if there was turnovers. But carrying meters was won by Houston. Uh, more cross game lines as well. Both converted. Actually, I think Houston missed a conversion. If that's no, Seattle made all 3 of theirs. Um, so penalty. There we go. The penalty goal was the difference for Houston. Um, had more kicking meters, and they only had 2 things that won. Seattle won was the lineouts, and in typical ref cheating fashion, Houston had more penalties. No surprise whatsoever that my team had more penalties. AJ Alatimu led the team in points at 9, or led the game, and Eddie Fuche, whatever, had 6 points, and then it was all Houston from there. You could look at tries. So here are the guys who scored the tries, and meters made. Rufus McLean, as he had mentioned, was name was briefly mentioned, led with 66 meters, and the final conversion by AJ was the difference towards the end of the game. So once he hit that, that was truly the dagger. And
Njabulo had a
Houston,
red card.
yeah, and that's true. Shout out to Najubulo. What do you do? What are you doing, you bum? Um, but yeah, so a pretty good matchup. Somewhat low scoring, I suppose, but overall, 2 evenly balanced teams. But Houston at least came out with the win
Yeah.
this week. So, and I was the only one that had faith in my boys.
Yeah, well, like I was the only one
Oh,
that had faith in Chicago, and look how that game turned out.
I can't make a good read on Chicago right now because their one loss is pretty bad.
With to Utah
Otherwise, I
though,
think
but
I
Utah
wouldn't
seems
run.
good, so
That's true. But at week 2, I would not have guessed Utah would have been cooking.
no, neither
So,
would I.
so
All right, Anthem. All right, let
I'll
me know if
stick
you
with
want to
that.
change any of your picks.
I'll stick with
My
Old Glory. I'll rock with Houston, even though I think Utah probably wins. I'll stick with Chicago.
I guess I'll go with Seattle.
I'll stick with Seattle. I'll stick with San Diego.
Yeah, they're not losing to LA.
Actually, Utah is at home. Utah's, I'll run with it. It is what it is. Utah probably wins, but I'll take a chance.
You can always pick up a game. Yeah, so you and me were both 4-1. Kyle was 3-2. So Kyle falls further back. Lamau, get wrecked.
Brutal.
Points leaders so far: Martin Elias for Miami, Joe Mano, Utah, and then 3 guys tied for third. San Diego in the lead in the East with 15 points, and then Miami in the lead with 11 in the West. Those might actually be flipped. I think it's the West and the East I flipped. Just looking at the cities' names. I'm pretty sure I made an oopsie bagoopsie there. Alright.
Womp womp.
Yep. On to the NAL. I have both week 1 and week 2 up here because that game was on Tuesday, so it was actually going on while we were streaming last week. I would have video, but they didn't stream it, so no highlights for that game. So rip Beaumont Renegades moment. But Sioux City won handily in their game, and then the Omaha Beef putting up an L performance against the Minneapolis Warriors.
They beefed it.
Yep, we do have the end of that game here. Let me pull it up from inside the arena. They have the clip. So let's watch.
Low snap takes it. Has plenty of time.
Omaha blow this.
Nowhere to go. Now he's going to throw it.
First loss in 900 days.
Body. Yeah, gets in.
No.
They are a disgrace
Yeah.
to the community. I'm completely devastated. Breaking news.
Oh, yep. Here's Lorenzo Brown throwing a pick 6. Let's watch that too.
So,
early in the fourth.
That's definitely. I think the backlash of this game is, Lorenzo sold out, and Minnesota destroyed Omaha, and I think Minnesota dunked on Omaha's undefeated streakism.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Definitely Sioux City. No offense to Beaumont, but
I will go Omaha, but I'm very hesitant right now. I'm scared.
They're not losing to Shreveport.
I know. I figured, but that was not a good showing.
You know what? Let's go with the new kids on the block.
I hope so.
Because you don't like their announcers.
Screw those bums, but I think ultimately they'll probably pull away with a dub.
Wheeling's hard to get a read on because they're coming from.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully they show out, and if I lose one, so be it. Just let Colorado get curb stomped. That'd be great.
Yeah. So that's good. All right, AF1. We do. I guess we can watch the. Let me send you the link. I will put it in the chat for the video.
Okay.
Tell me when you have it up. the 9-minute video because there are 10 teams, even though there's only 9 teams now.
I got it up.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, start. From the ashes of the 2024 Arena Football League relaunch,
Shout out to my boy Dion McFarland
harkens back to the initial AFL
commenting. I'm giving him a like.
The name prior to the league's acquisition of the AFL.
Oh yeah, for
branding.
Rip Predators.
8 of the initial 16 teams made it to the finish line, and 7 will continue in the AF1. To shore up the league, they have added an additional 3 to get the league to 10. So technically, initially, it was going to start with 14 teams, and all 8 were going to make it.
All my teams cooking this
Indoor
league.
Football being the way that it is, they're going to have to settle for the even 10. The Albany Firebirds came up just short in Arena Bowl 33, though only entering their second season as a franchise. Indoor football dates back in the city. First with the original
please tell me you
Firebirds
mention
in the original
Antonio
AFL
Brown
from 1990 to 2000.
I do mention that the Albany Empire closed because of that.
And they returned to the AFL with the Empire in 2018 and 19. And then the Empire's return in the National Arena League in 2021 until its disastrous ownership and closure by Antonio Brown in 2023. They are coached by second-year head coach Damon Ware, who's been in Albany since the NAL Empire. Though getting strong quarterback play from Jake Medlock last season, they have improved at the position with the addition of 2024 Indoor Football League Offensive Player of the Year Sam Castronova, who tallied up over 3,300 yards, 75 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions, as well as adding an additional 400 yards and 23 touchdowns on the ground. To pair with him, they have re-signed wideout Darian Townsend,
seeing all these Darius
23
Prince,
receptions for 293 yards,
touchdowns
4
making me
last
sad.
year, and brought over Billings Outlaws wide receiver Dwayne Brown, who torched Albany in the Arena Bowl for 5 touchdowns. And on defense, they have amassed an impressive range of former Power 5 talents, such as Kansas DB Mike Lee, Old Miss DB Derek Jones, West Virginia defensive
Can't believe they had
lineman
that
Ezekiel
championship in a
Rhodes,
mall.
Tennessee defensive lineman David
So
Williams,
funny.
and Rutgers linebacker Drew Singleton. The Arizona Bandits are the one new expansion team making it to the inaugural kickoff. Initially planned to be part of the
Here's one of the
AFL
teams I think
relaunch,
will go
but postponed their
will fold
entrance
soon.
and now find themselves in the AF1. Setting up shop in a state dominated by
That's
the
fine.
rival
There's
Indoor
an
Football
Empire
League,
tied
and its 3
tonight.
teams, the Bandits might find
Spencer Knight's
themselves
not
in a
playing.
tough spot for eyeballs, especially in the Phoenix area with the Arizona Rattlers in town. To relieve some of that, though, they hired former Rattler and Phoenix native Chad DeGreener as their first head coach.
This is
They also
the
made
Arizona
big signings
Adrenaline,
in former
by the way.
last-year
This
star
is
Malik Henry at quarterback, and former 2-time All-Arena wideout
Adrenaline
Larry
to play a
On
whole year.
defense, they signed South Carolina defensive line product Ulrich Jones, who has spent time in both the Alliance of American Football and XFL, among other indoor leagues, and stands at a towering 6'7". The reigning Arena Bowl champions Billings Outlaws look to repeat that success in 2025, but coach Cedric Walker's title defense will not come without some difficulty, most notably through the loss of Arena Bowl MVP quarterback Isaac Harker. To replace him, they have signed former Fresno State and Fort Lewis quarterback
You were so
Brandon
close to going
Winkle
undefeated in that.
and reigning 2-time
Two.
Mid-Atlantic Conference Offensive Player of the Year Russell Minor Shaw.
In this
They've
league,
also signed a pair
with,
of FBS wideouts.
Yeah.
Billings had what, one loss?
Kenny Brewer,
Yeah,
maybe?
it was like a 3-point.
Yeah.
It was a 3-point loss.
compiled 60 catches for 800.
But you lost your quarterback,
4
so
touchdowns in his collegiate
who
career.
knows?
And on the defensive side of the ball, they have signed 2023
This whole league is up
first-team
in the air.
All-MAC defensive lineman Sidney Houston.
I
out of
feel like
Florida
they'll
State.
still,
The American
I think
Indoor
it probably-
Football
considering
Running
most of
Office
these teams
Crichton
have
had a bit of a wild
very
offseason.
sketchy stability,
Initially
I
joining
feel
the
like
NAL through its
Billings
merger
should
with the
still
AAF. In
be
unknown
towards the
complications
top.
left them off.
Maybe
Yeah, but I
someone
think-
dumps them.
And
or
I
if
think
they-
since
finding
Albany
a
is the
new
only one that
home
really
in the
retained a
AF1.
good quarterback.
First-year head
Well, I'm
coach
not
Johnny
saying Billings
Anderson
will
will have a
necessarily
bit of
beat
competition
them.
at quarterback,
Yeah.
as they have signed arena
But
standouts
Billings
Josh
should,
Allen,
you know,
Javonte Johnson, as well as IFL and
fall
NAL experienced Fred
really
Tate.
outside top
Not
3
under
or
any
4.
competition, though, is
I'll
wide
definitely-
receiver one, as they've signed former
Yeah, they'll-
Albany forward
Probably because there's
Larry
only be
Smith,
5 teams at the
who
end of
hauled
the
in
year.
66 balls for
True.
858 yards and a whopping 22 touchdowns last season. And on defense, they have made quite
Shout
a
out to the Dallas
success, signing
Falcons.
former AFL Defensive Player of the Year and 3-time All-Arena DB, Dwayne Hollis.
Might
After
change
a
the
late season
bit to
folding,
Dallas
Nashville
Falcons.
Cats
Gonna
found themselves
Falcon.
as a playoff team
Just
for
to
their
honor 'em.
inaugural season. And despite the 3-4 record, they were able to upset the 4 seed and get a postseason victory. Unfortunately, the clock would strike midnight on their Cinderella story in the next round, as they would come up just short to eventual champion Billings, 35-32. But in the offseason, they would make a big improvement at the head coach position, contracting 4-time Arena Bowl champion and 2-time Coach of the Year Darren Arbus. So that would come in the aftermath of losing former AFL MVP.
Oh, Nashville does have a
Brandon
former
Hibbert
Illinois
back to
player.
retirement.
So His
for
replacement will
Kyle.
come from a competition featuring former Sacramento State
Good for
QB
them,
Jake
but
Dunningway, Division II
I still don't
Brandon
support
product
Nashville
Corey Curtis,
propaganda.
and Cumberland College QB Jaron Myers. While their defensive line should be fearsome, featuring ex-FBS talent in Fresno State's Johnny Hudson and Illinois' Roderick Perry, as well as their defensive backfield with Toledo's Kenny Veal and Houston's John Lewis. The Oregon Lightning returned to play after a season off, coming from the American West Football Conference, where they played under the name the Oregon High Desert Storm. The name change coming as not to cause confusion with the league's other Storm franchise. Though not officially connected, they share several key personnel from the 2024 AFL Oregon Black Bears, one of the many teams to fold during the season.
The highlight video for this team is a former Falcons Gonna Falcon game.
Instead of Redmond, Oregon, they play in this league's smallest venue with a capacity of just 4,000. At quarterback, they're going to have
so you can finally see the highlights behind that.
From the third tier of the German Football League, former High Desert Storm quarterback Matthew Ione, who tallied
this field looks like trash too.
Touchdowns against 0 interceptions in the two
so
games that were
hopefully they've improved their field since then.
Also recently acquired former Amarillo veteran quarterback Dalton Cole, who put up 511 yards.
This looks like Mississippi Raiders kind of field.
4 reported games in the AIF last year. Where they lack a
to be honest, this game's from 2021. It could be the Mississippi Raiders field, to be fair.
Not one, not two, but 3 different players listed as athletes on the team roster.
That would be amazing.
A plethora of other players capable of playing multiple positions. The Orlando Predators were let
you can ignore this part.
Drew Powell postseason performance to end their season on a sour note after a successful regular season. And as he makes
doesn't matter.
Coach E.J. Burke has for a replacement. And he may have found one in former Tulsa Oilers quarterback Andre Sale, who tallied up nearly 1,500 yards, 39 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions in 9 games in the IFL last season. Coming with him from the Oilers is also his go-to target, Alexis Rosario, who caught 84 balls for 850
The worst part is that they seemed like they were actually going to have a pretty decent team.
On the defensive side of the ball, they should receive solid line play from Shockey Hollins and Sean Williams.
They posted pictures from their training camp the day that they announced they were leaving the league.
Free agency, they have brought back an old
the day they got kicked out, like a couple hours before. It was wild.
In 2022,
oh man!
Hey! En route to a league championship. And to match with them, they have signed former Central Michigan Chippewa Dallas Dixon, who gained third-team All-MAC honors in his junior year, as well as brought back running back turned wideout Tracy Brooks, who collected 350 yards and 11 touchdowns. On
they brought in a quarterback this competent.
And on defense, they have brought in longtime indoor veteran defensive back Dwayne Autry, who's tallied up over 70 games in his career. The Southwest Kansas Storm out of Dodge City, Kansas, are led by second-year head coach Gary Thompson, and are looking to improve from last season's 4-5 record. At quarterback, they have acquired former Birmingham Stallion quarterback Jalen Morton, and should be able to get a run game going behind running back Logan Wright, as they have a line featuring 3 former FBS players, and Alex Hale, Sama Pama, and Caleb Schaefer. While on the defensive line, they added another 2, and former Oregon State Beaver Joe Golden, and Baylor Bear Marge Smith. The Washington Wolfpack are the final team in this year's AF1, and are the only non-playoff team returning from the disastrous AFL return. Based out of Everett, Washington, second-year head coach J.R. Wells looks to improve from last season's 2-7 record. They have done an almost complete roster overhaul, signing former Predators.
That one win against Rapid City, I'm pretty sure, was against replacement players.
1,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. To pair with him, they signed a trio of receivers: Richie Anderson, Otis Odom, and Deshaun Williams.
No, I think that was the game after Rapid City. They protested that one game and forfeited, and the next game they were replaced by replacement players.
Week 0 will kick off this Saturday as the Orlando Predators take on the Southwest.
Ignore this too. It's now Nashville versus Southwest Kansas.
Streaming service. All games will be available there, except for a select few that will be broadcast on Vice TV. The season will run 15 weeks, counting Week 0, and be followed by a 16 playoff featuring the 3 division champions and 3 wildcards.
Alrighty. Good stuff, okay. So, recap of last year. Half the teams died. Now at least half the teams have died before the year started, you know? Billings beat Albany, 1-2 matchup in the championship. I don't know if they're going to change the alignments for this season because this is a little lopsided now, to be fair, in the divisional
I think
breakdown.
Nashville's got this. I have faith in getting second place.
Yeah, second place. I hope they don't change it. It'd be really funny if they don't.
I think Southwest actually needs to move to the West Division. You got to balance things
In
out.
fact, everybody should move to the West Division except for Albany. They should keep their own division.
Based.
Yeah, the funniest thing is I don't really know how. I don't know regionally. You couldn't really move anybody to East.
No, I was looking at the West. I was like, you literally can't do any of those.
I guess you could move Arizona over and then Corpus over.
I was gonna say you'd have to move Corpus, or maybe Kansas. They're roughly. Kansas might actually be better. They're at least a little bit further north, but I don't know where they're located.
Yeah, I guess I
can. Geographically, but
I can pull up.
They're both relatively.
They're both not close, but Albany's really not close to Nashville either. To be fair.
No, it's not.
That whole division was all spread out.
Horrible. Yeah, Corpus Christi's way
south. So I guess Salina then. So you do those three.
Oh yeah, that's
and then
true.
These three, and then those 3, 4. I guess you could do these.
Good Albany, bro. They could really use a team like Carolina.
Albany just needs to get over the fact that they need to get over their fetish with nets and join the AFL.
Yeah.
Because then they can give Massachusetts a pairing.
Got a good little rivalry going.
Yeah.
It might be the first team in New York I'd root over in Boston.
Well, they're not technically in Boston. They're in wherever.
The state that represents the city of Boston.
Okay. But it is Albany.
I'll say the first time I'd root for New York in a New York-Massachusetts matchup.
Okay.
I'll word it that way.
Okay. All right, Nashville, Southwest Kansas.
I thought I picked Nashville.
Nashville moved over from a different game. This was originally Orlando versus Southwest.
Yeah. And I think I took Orlando originally or whatever. Yeah, I'll go Nashville.
I'll just be contrarian. We'll go the Pat method here. I think Southwest Kansas folds after Nashville folds. So.
Fair enough.
There's how the season broke down last year. Alrighty. Now we can go to the AFL. I'll do my stuff first because we're both doing this really lazy, so.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So we all both have 5 teams. One new coach switch. Dean Cox is now the coach of the Sydney Swans because their John Longmire retired. I was looking at him when I saw that he retired. He played for North Melbourne for a really long time, so maybe he'll come out of retirement to coach them in the future. Who knows? Maybe he could finally have a good coach.
We'll say.
Collingwood, coached by Craig McRae. Darcy Moore, the captain. Nick Dykos. He's one of the really good players they have. Braden Maynard are your vice captains. Other important players: Darcy Cameron, Jamie Milton, Daniel McStay, Isaac Quaynor. Geelong Chris Scott is your coach. Patrick Dangerfield, good name. captain. Tommy Stewart, vice captain. Gold Coast doesn't have their head coach listed, so let me pull those up. Their head coach is... Where is head coach? Chairman coach. Damien Hardwick. Noah Anderson is their captain. Sam Collins, Torque Miller are your vice captains. Ben King, Will Powell, Matt Roll. Other important players. GWS is coached by Adam Kingsley, Toby Green, Stephen Caniglo, Josh Kelly, vice captains, Jack Buckley, Brent Daniels, Tom Green, Connor Idun, Sam Taylor, and then for Sydney, Dean Cox is your new head coach. They don't have their key players listed. Their captain is Caleb Mills. Men's team. There's their roster. I guess they must not have their vice captain and stuff voted for yet.
I was gonna say I was running into that with North Melbourne here.
Yeah, and then Western
okay.
Luke Beveridge is your coach. Marcus Bontempelli is your captain. Tom Limbertor, vice captain. Aaron Knighton is deputy vice captain. That's a title certainly. Bailey Dale, Taylor Duray, Liam Jones, Ed Richards, Cody Whiteman. Other important players for their preseason. Eston. So Geelon lost to Eston in their preseason game. Collingwood beat Richmond. Western beat Hawthorn. GWS lost to Carlton, and Sydney beat Gold Coast. So there's a little friendly fire there for my teams. So my teams came in going 3-3. So I will let you pull up. Actually, important. We had some stat leaders. GWS, Leitchie Whitefield, Jesse Hogan. There you go. Okay.
Cool.
Bring up yours, Nate.
We'll start with mine. So we're going to start with the one and only, the greatest franchise in this league in North Melbourne Roos. It's not Melbourne. You will offend a lot of Australians. Although, depending on your view of same-sex marriage, maybe you do want to offend North Melbourne. But in all seriousness, that's the way I get canceled. Head coach is Alistair Clarkson. Part of the reason I even brought that up is because their head coach was notoriously known for
didn't he get
getting
suspended?
really angry and getting suspended. Last year, he in a preseason tune-up game, he said the F slur toward considered homophobic.
He was just referring to one of our favorite players, Diego Fago.
And that's true, or it could have been talk about a bundle of cigarettes, right, or whatever it is. So you never know, or a bundle of sticks. So it got a little bit spicy.
I think
head coach there
because a cigarette is also one in the UK.
Yeah. So I know there's a couple different assistant coaches here: Michael Barlow, Jed Adcock, Leigh Adams, Brent Harvey, and Josh Gibson.
MLB Hall of Famer.
We did bring back the MLB Hall of Famer back from the dead.
Progressive because he's a black
Negro League legend
player.
Josh Gibson allegedly hit more home runs than Babe Ruth. So we did do that. It might be reason why they're really bad at rugby, but so
they kick ass at baseball though.
That's true. That would be true. Got a couple rookies here: Toby Pink, Colin Dawson, Brendan Teagle. And like I said, doesn't look like they made their captaincy.
Tristan Zary is good.
There we go. And as Jackson mentioned, that dude's pretty decent. I just had to also bring this up really quick. Club symbols. they give me a shin boner. I don't even know what this is, but to shout out shin boner spirit. At clubs with bigger memberships, supporters only touch their colors, but they touch their shin boners. So shout out to North Melbourne. I don't know how I didn't notice this last year. Really goofy tradition, I guess.
St. Kilda.
They don't ask for handouts, and they're always fighting against the odds. Just as they're fighting against not coming in dead last. So.
Well, they didn't come in last year. Didn't Richmond end up below them?
Oh, that's true. So they did accomplish not coming in.
Because they got bailed out, because that's what those guys in the comment section said.
And that's true. So the next team's Carlton Football Club. Historically pretty decent team overall, 16 premierships, but has last time they won, neither of us were alive. So unfortunate. That's the reserves team.
That's the VFL
couple rivalries
team generally.
Here. Collingwood, Essendon, and Richmond. And
that'd be your VFL team if you're
I know. I thought I heard corporate. Nope. Didn't make this easy to find where their actual roster is at. So that's a little annoying. But we can look at their Hall of Fame. Maybe we could do that. So they established their Hall of Fame in 1987. So got a few guys here. Burt Deacon, Bruce Dowell.
Current playing squad. Under individual.
There we go. I'm blind. I'm a moron, people. Michael Voss is their head coach. And I think their captaincy might be down here somewhere. Maybe
probably
not.
At the top. Patrick Cripps.
Patrick Cripp. Oh, there it is.
And then Sam Walsh is your vice
captain.
captain.
So they did. I wasn't saying that for North Melbourne, but it does look like they actually. Jacob Wiedering is their vice captain.
And Sam Walsh.
And then they have a couple Category B rookies, Matt Duffy and Rob Monahan. So
they don't have a good B. They just they're unimportant.
Any goofy nicknames?
They're the Blues.
They're called the Blues, or I meant Traditions is what I meant to say. It doesn't look like it, but so that's Carlton. Hopefully this doesn't go as bad as the last one. So now I'm covering both Melbourne teams. So shout out to these guys. Did relatively okay last year, kind of mid, but they did win a premiership in 2021. So they've had relative success recently. And going to current squad, Max Gone is the captain, Jack Vinny is the vice captain, Simon Goodwood is their head coach. So overall, relatively decent team. They have 150 heroes. So shout out to them to having this elaborate list of Hall of Famers. They have Sean White over here. So W. Dick Fenton Smith, legend. Dick Hingston, probably a lot of dicks in here. So not really much else to cover here though. That unfortunately the club symbols aren't that funny. I don't think. No, it's that they're not. Not rubbing their shin boners. So
yeah.
Now here's the team that everyone's been dying to know about. I'm truly a St. Kilda fan at heart. My dad hated me so much, he made me a St. Kilda fan. The team that is known for strength through loyalty. And that's a pretty freaking accurate statement because they've existed since the 18-something. And let's look at the premierships. That's right. 1, poverty. And my mom was 3 for perspective when that happened. So that they've within 120, 130 years won premiership. Their VFL teams, I think, actually have more than them.
Yeah.
Yes, the reserves got more championships than them. So
shout out to their minor league system.
So if Cub fans ever complain about going through pain and poverty, just remember, call St. Kilda strength through loyalty because they've really just had to stick it out and be depressed. So their club identity is obviously losing. So we don't really need to go over that. But we could go over their captain is Jack Steele, their head coach is Ross Lyon, and got Liam O'Connell as their Category B rookie. So let's take a look at their club achievements. Yeah, there are none because again, 130 years and one premiership, pretty Mickey Mouse. I mean, there's a couple things here, but they got 27 wooden spoons. Really impressive. I don't know what the heck that means, but hey, we're not winning premierships, but we're getting wooden spoons. So that's what I thought. Um, so the next team we are covering here is the Essendon Bombers. So they got quite a few premierships. I think roughly the same as the Blues at 16. So they got Brad Scott as their coach, Natalie Wood for their women's coach, Zach Merritt is their captain, and there's their captain Xavier O'Neill is their VFO captain. And trying to find
Current
their
squad, under honors.
current squad. Jeez, under honors. This is the rest of the roster. So Andrew McGrath is the vice captain, and nobody else that really is too notable that comes to mind, or at least I recognize. But they're a relatively respectable team last year. So not really. Let's really quickly. Do they have any funny club symbols? Clash jumpers, maybe. I don't know. Yellow armbands. Yeah, they wear yellow armbands. So that's what it means to be a bomber. Wear a yellow armband, chat. And then last but not least is Port Adelaide. A fun fact about these guys: I did research, and objectively, this team has the worst fan base in the league. Notably, I don't know what it is, but a lot of people hate their fans. So,
but Nate,
I could see
they
why.
exist to win premierships.
They do exist to win premierships. That's who it was. And yeah, guys.
All
so
one of them.
if you all but one, but I guess to be fair, they have 36 in this whatever this league is. So they did win at a lower level or just an entirely different league, I suppose. But yeah, still, I'd still count those as Mickey Mouse. They were not in the AFL until recently, and you know, obviously the AFL's been around forever, so they really only have one true premiership. So who's got the supporters? Well, I can tell you right now, they got a big fan in Luka Doncic because everyone's selling their season tickets, and I know some people are selling their season tickets here. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it should be. There's their Hall of Fame. I keep doing this because I'm blind. Playing lists. No. Rivalries. Well, they do have a couple rivals with the Lions and Adelaide over here, and then Norwood in that other league. So, prison bar. This is one of their things because apparently, historically, this team has players going to prison. Obviously, ignore the fact of what the actual facts are here. So, poverty team overall. Okay, at least find their. There we go. So Connor Rosie's their captain, and Ken Hinckley's their head coach. So, those are my teams, and I don't imagine any of them being relatively competent, besides maybe Carlton. So
maybe regular Melbourne. They choked at the end of the year.
They'll be all right. I mean, I feel like they'll be decent. I feel like I'll put it this way. Carlton's probably realistically the only team I have that has remote chance of winning a premiership, and even they were doing really well to start last year. They just fell apart. Everybody else I'm covering, for the most part, well, I guess Port Adelaide was second. I forgot about that, but they have a terrible fan base.
They choked in the playoffs.
Yeah, so exist to win premierships, my butt.
Alright, yeah, so a refresher on what happened last year. Your top 8 were Sydney, Port Adelaide, Geelong, GWS, Brisbane, Western, Hawthorn, and Carlton. Postseason ended up being won by Brisbane, who smoked the number 1 Swans by 60 points in the grand final. So, rip to that. But I did call my bracket correctly. So
Good for you. I'm still mad about the Hawks just falling short. Would have looked like a genius having them going that far. Rip.
yeah,
The Hawks were my
your dark horse.
NC State pick for March Madness when I
Yeah.
took them Final Four. Don't mean to brag, people. I do in fact know college ball. I'm delusional. I was just
I
riding
picked
off a
Butler
high and
Final
somehow got it
Four
right.
both times.
Which ones?
Butler.
That's impressive, actually. You knew Brad Stevens was a genius. You knew ball. The wrong sport. Sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah.
to sidetrack us.
All right. I will say Brisbane doesn't have a hangover. I think this is one of the games that's on postponement, though.
Oh crap! I forgot Brisbane won, so I actually switched mine to Brisbane.
Geelong should be decent though too.
They should be decent, but I'll stick with Sydney.
Yeah, probably.
I'll go with Bombers.
Wiggle,
I'll
wiggle.
stick with the Magpies. Yeah.
Cutter, my boys. Oh, that's how we finished last year. Pretty I guess you and Kyle were close, and then I had a 5-game lead. All right, we've got a few other news. Back to the AF1 when I was saying that don't pay attention to Orlando, it's because they got kicked out of the league.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Blumenau. Lol. There's
How
kind
dare
of a both institutions are kind of throwing shade at each other, but Orlando is saying that they have a prospective buyer, and the prospective buyer said I would prefer if they didn't play this year, which, to be honest, could make sense, because if you think the AF1 is going to be an absolute clusterfuck, you'd rather not be involved in that.
Yeah.
And maybe let's try the entire year to get into compliance with the move to the IFL, I assume, is where if you're buying an indoor team is where you want to be. Other news, in Mexican football, unfortunately, we lost another team.
Oh, life is pain.
The Galgos died for the year. Here's the translated post. So, yes, they're not going to participate in 2025. It's permitted by the bylaws of the league, where they can request for a year off. They say they're going to return in 2026, so maybe they will with the Hefes.
Our glorious king, Trayvon Boykin, is still in the league, though.
Yes,
He's now a Dino.
Yes, we'll get to that. So they also had the real draft over the weekend on the 1st. Abraham Sheikhan Orta from the Burros Blancos went 1-1 to the Archangels, offensive lineman. So, it is a little... I guess it makes sense for these to be less skill position based draft-wise, because I assume most of your skill positions are going to be imports.
Imports, yeah.
So... plus, I'm not familiar with... I'm not up to date on my college Mexican football, so I can't...
I'm not, unfortunately,
say if these are good picks or not, so...
I'd just like to point out for the second year in a row, the Caudillos, despite winning the championship, drafted before the Gallos Negros did. Of course, for context, the Gallos Negros were 3rd, then traded down to 6th, and then the Caudillos traded up to 6th with the Gallos Negros. So 2 years in a row, Gallos Negros and the Caudillos struck a deal to absolutely fleece them. So that's...
yeah.
2 championships, and yet we're drafting before Kyle. Womp womp. Skill issue.
Kyle sucks. Lamau. And then they had the dispersal draft for the Hefes and the Galgos. As you can see, these are mostly a lot of imports of them. But our boy Trayvon Boykin
Wasn't even a top 3. That's so
No,
funny.
he actually went behind Anthony Perkins,
That's
which
so
is
funny.
wild. They even know he's not great.
That's so funny.
So the Reyes picked up an import quarterback. So that's good news for the Reyes because that's kind of what they needed last year.
Yo. I just forgot. We built up our offensive line and we're cracked.
Yeah. I think your draft was also mostly line.
It's because we have too much talent everywhere else. The day we lose Jeremy Johnson is the day I'm going to cry.
I don't even know if he's back, you know?
I'm confident he's back. Lock it in.
Lock it in. Oh, you also drafted Jesus, so good for that. The Raptors also took a quarterback. They took one of the national players. Kyle's dinosaur teams are out here.
Technically, he's one of them now.
Oh, did you get one of them?
Yeah. I snagged one of them because I think he was forced to get rid of one of them, I thought.
He just chose to. I don't think we weren't forced to get rid of anything.
Maybe he didn't. I thought he...
yeah, you have the Dinos now. So you have. I guess you replaced Trayvon Boykin with Trayvon Boykin.
He's staying with the fam.
Yeah.
Welcome, Mr. Boykin. We love to see it, chat.
Yeah.
But death, taxes, and me losing a team. What a shocker.
Yeah. So let's just do the ceremonial of getting rid of the Galgos. R.I.P. But yeah, who would have guessed that one of the teams that would leave, the one team that would leave would be your team? But the also news from that is that the schedule is coming. It's Barlow.
Thank goodness. It's Barlow. It's Barlow.
It's Spanish. Wait for it.
We're waiting.
Yep. Hopefully that'll be here in the next week or two. And then hopefully they start literally the same week the schedule comes out.
That'd be nice.
That's what we can only hope. Yeah, that being said, that should be everything to go over. So, you got anything to close out, Nate?
I'm good.
You're good? All right. Well, then we will see everybody next week, probably back on